It's Robbie Rist.
Laura Decker.
Hi, this is Willow.
Kat Robichaux.
Mandolin Carlson.
Connor Dwelly.
Next Big Thing Radio.
NextBigThingRadio.net.
This week's episode of Conversations is brought to you by Park to Park Travel Services. Visit parktoparktravel.com for all your concierge vacation needs. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy Conversations on nextbigthingradio.net.
Next, BigThingRadio.net, you are tuned to Conversations. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. If you've got any questions or comments about the programming, and of course the things we're doing right most of the time, go ahead and drop us a line. Next, BigThingRadio@gmail.com. I'm Mike Dowler in Los Angeles. In Dallas, Texas, our co-host, Brett Strickler. Brett, how are you?
Hot. It is 73 degrees and climbing in my house because my air conditioner is broken.
Yeah. Oh, that's not good. That's a bad thing. Oh, well, it's 80 in my room here, so can you hear the AC in the background?
No. Can you hear the fan in the background of mine?
No.
Good.
Well, you just got to talk all over it so I won't hear it.
There you go.
But you're good. But again, folks, sorry we started late. A couple things came up, but we've done that. Our tables are clear, and we've got a great guest tonight for episode 85. I want to thank our last episode's guest, which was our guest from Orange is the New Black. And we want to thank her for sure. A great, great guest from Francesca Curran from New York. She plays Skinhead Helen on the show, and a great show. And I got to tell you, Brett, I'm a ham radio operator.
Yep.
On the side. And I'm talking on the radio this morning to a friend of mine who's up in Goleta, just south of north of Santa Barbara.
I know where Goleta is. He used to drive through there a lot.
Right. And he says, Can I get back to you? I said, well, yeah, why? He goes, I'm listening to your podcast right now.
That's awesome.
So he had it in the car. Yeah, that's great. Because I got a little bio on my ham radio stuff as well. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so that was really cool. I was kind of honored about that. So good.
Awesome,
so again,
man.
Francesca Curran podcast is up. We've got Mandolin Carlson's podcast is up. Tyrell Jackson Williams, he's up. And many, many more. Again, those are nextbigthingradio.net. They're also on our iTunes page and Google Play. So lots of ways you can get our podcast. Of course, the alternative is just go to Google and Google it. Come up that way too. Something will pop up. Other people are like posting our podcasts. It's amazing. So it's like we're somewhere, which is good, which is kind of reassuring because if something crashes, at least we know we can get it somewhere else. But we don't want any crash.
God no.
Yeah.
Don't need
I'd love
any
to
more
see
of
the emails that went back and forth today, Brett, but I'm working on a guest in 2 weeks.
Cool.
This is going to be huge. I can't announce it yet.
Oh,
we'll know later as we do. I will go ahead and let you know. I will give you a hint. It's a Netflix show.
I already saw the emails. I'm excited. Okay. Guys, it's, yeah.
Until I get a confirmation, I'm not going to say who it is, but I got to tell you, this is going to be pretty huge. So I'll let you know, and it's looking good for that. Let's get started, Brett.
Not quite as big as our current guest, but,
Well, no, gosh, no. Gosh, no. Kari Wahlgren is a voiceover artist and actress. And, of course, actresses, there's some artistry involved in there. Kari hails from a small town in central Kansas. But the good news is, well, if you look at it good, she's not in Kansas anymore. See what I did, Brett? Isn't that cool? I'm sure she gets that a lot. but again, Brett, you ran across the stuff that she's worked on.
Oh my gosh, man! When I saw Kari's bio come across, I first thing I told you was we got to get her on. I'm a big Rick and Morty fan, so when I saw her name come across, it's like done. Yes, we got to make this happen.
And by the way, the agency that she's with is also the same one that works with Ava and Bella Akers.
Oh, very cool.
So the voiceover community is very, very, I want to say it's big, but everybody's very, very close. Everyone knows each other, which is really cool. And again, the artistry involved in taking a voice and letting that to a character on the screen is, I'm a voiceover geek.
Yeah.
You know that for sure. On my wall to the left of my desk here, I have a picture of Gary Owens. Gary Owens autographed a picture for me about 15 years ago. at Dutton Books in North Hollywood when he wrote his book, and that stays on my wall. It's like a shrine. I mean, because Gary Owens, when you think of the voice and the voiceovers and whatnot, he's like, it's golden. So without getting emotional, I want to say hi to our guest tonight, Kari Wahlgren. How are you?
Hi, guys. I'm great. This is actually really fascinating to hear you kind of talk about some of your backgrounds and some of your interests with the voiceover world. So I was actually kind of sitting here all curled up and ooh, that's interesting.
Awesome. And you're based in Los Angeles as well. So, and really for what you do, you want to be here, I would think.
It's for cartoons. I definitely feel like Los Angeles is the place to be, but I always have people ask me, oh, do I have to live in New York or do I have to live in LA to do voiceovers? And now the answer is no. There's so much that's done online, and there's so much that is, done through Skype and ISDN lines and all of that you can do a lot of voiceover from anywhere in the country. But animation mostly is here in LA, so that's where I'm at.
Now, what's awesome is I actually have you heard of the studio Funimation?
Yes.
They're right across the street from my current job.
Oh, you're kidding! Oh, how cool!
And I was like, I didn't realize they were that close because I had a friend of mine say, "Well, yeah, Funimation's over in Flower Mound, Texas." I was like, I work in Flower Mound, and I was driving to work one day, and I just looked across and I went, "Oh, well, there it is. All right."
That's pretty much the Mecca. Like that's the Texas Mecca.
Oh man, it's
anime. So you're in a good location there.
Just need to get get a demo reel going and throw it over to them.
There you go. Just pitch it across the street.
There you go. Absolutely.
I like your website. There's an FAQ on there, and I want to say it says a bad demo tape is just as bad as no demo tape or worse.
A bad demo is worse than no demo at all. It is my motto in life. Whenever I'm asked for advice or people are like, oh, I've got to put a demo together. And the way I always kind of describe it is, how sometimes you go out on a date for the first time and you're so full of hope and promise and you're, looking across the table and the person's really cute and stuff like that. And then they open their mouth and they say something really stupid, like just offensive or awful. And so it's almost like with a bad demo, you open your mouth and you scream, "I'm green. I have no experience." It's just yelling from the rooftops that you're not ready. So it's better to put the time in, put the work in, and really put together a quality demo rather than rush it and put a bad one out there because it hurts you more.
And again, taking classes also helps.
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be selective about the classes you take. A lot of people will guarantee you that you'll walk out with stuff that's a demo worthy, and you'll be able to walk out of here with a recording that you can use. And be a little wary of that.
Yeah.
Go in and learn what you can, get the good information, but don't. Just be selective. Use your smarts.
Gotcha.
All that jazz.
Oh yeah.
Every once in a while, though, there's that diamond in the rough that has that natural voice. That voice is just perfect. But I will say this: I have a background in radio. I've worked in radio for many years now, and I've been approached so many times by folks that say, "Hey, I've been told I've got a great voice for radio." Well, hey, put together a 2.5-minute demo. And shop it around. And a lot of folks aren't willing to put in the time to it. They think they can just walk right in and they just sit down and have at it. But there is a process, and people want to hear that. Voiceover is, of course, much, much different because I'm thinking
It is.
I mean, you got to be some versatility, obviously, because you're doing different roles, different parts, and things. So the voices are different.
I feel like people come at it one of two ways. You have people that do 100 different voices, and they're really super versatile. So they can play a lot of different things. And then you have people that do one or two things really, really well. They may not have like a huge range, but they've got that great sound, and they're a really good actor, and they just kind of know how to use their voice, so they only do like one or two things, but they do it great. So you can kind of make a career either way. I'm kind of more of a utility girl, so I do a number of different things, and tend to get hired for everything from babies to grandmas, and it's really fun.
Now you've done a wide range of things, from TV shorts to video games to anime voiceovers to some of the biggest cartoons out there. I mean, you got Uncle Grandpa on here. You've got, oh man, I'm just looking through this going, where do I start?
Thank you.
What for the first video game you ever voiced? What was it like going into the studio for that?
Actually, I'll back up even before that, because the first thing that I did when I moved out to LA was an anime show. I read it in an actor's trade paper and auditioned and ended up getting this role, and so that was kind of challenging and a whole new world for me, because with anime, they already have created the cartoon. It's been done in Japan or whatever country, and so you are basically syncing every line up to a pre-existing picture. So it was a huge learning experience for me to go into the studio on that first project. And, there are clients from Japan there that are very, very particular about trying to make sure that the sound and the characterization is true to the original. And then on top of that, I'm looking at a video screen in the booth and trying to learn how to sync up each one of the lines to these mouth flaps that are already in the animation. So it was really tricky. So by the time I started doing a couple of video games, it was good training, because certain parts of the video games, sometimes you'll have to really be a slave to the timing. Like they'll say, okay, we've got like 3.2 seconds to get this line in here. So, wow. You'll do the line and they'll say, okay, that was 3.6 seconds. Can you shave off about, 0.4 seconds? So you'll do it again, and then they'll say, that was 2.9 seconds. Like it gets very technical with some of the voiceover work, which a lot of people don't necessarily realize. So then when you go on to do something like Rick and Morty, where it's US animation, we lay down all of the vocals first, and then they ship it off somewhere to be animated. So you have a lot more freedom and flexibility to kind of take the time you want with the lines, and to take pauses and do the read that you want. And then they just animate it all later. So it's can be recorded in a lot of different ways.
That's awesome. I didn't realize there was that many variations on voiceover. To the layman, you think about it, voiceover. It's just somebody going into a studio and talking into a mic. It's a lot more than that, for sure.
It can be. Yeah, it can be. There are a lot of different ways to do it. So,
what's been the favorite show that you've worked on, either animated wise?
Oh, that question. I can never answer that question.
Your current favorite. Let's go with that.
It's like picking between children,
Fair enough.
Like, but I will say, I'm doing a show right now for Nickelodeon, called Bunsen is a Beast, and I play the villain of the show, and her name is Amanda, and she's got this mouthful of braces, and she's just like this little evil Napoleon, and it's amazing. Like, I'm having so much fun with that role. So she's probably one of my recent favorites.
That's awesome. Now, of course, I'm a big Rick and Morty fan, as I said earlier. So, of course, we're gonna have to talk about that a little bit.
Yay! Woohoo!
How did you get the notification that they were casting for Rick and Morty?
Well, the cool thing about Rick and Morty is Justin Roiland, the creator of the show, and he's also the guy that does the voices for Rick and Morty. He and I worked together on Fish Hooks for Disney.
Okay.
So we had kind of met through that show and worked on that show. And so when the audition kind of went out to the agencies and everything for Rick and Morty, I sent in an audition for Jessica, the little love interest. Mm-hmm. And he remembered me and liked my audition. And so he cast me for it. And it was pretty cool because I came in and I did like 1, maybe 2 episodes. And then he's just like, well, why don't you do this part too? And why don't you do this alien? Or why don't you do the voice of Rick's spaceship? So it just kind of evolved and they started bringing me in for a lot of other things. And it's just been a blast. It's one of the few shows that I can actually watch as a fan as well as being in the cast.
That's a good question. I was going to ask you that because we always ask, Brett always asks folks that are on TV and stuff that do you enjoy watching yourself or are you able to watch the work you do? Are you able to listen to your voiceovers and not be totally critical?
Oh, it's hard. It's, I get so, I'm really a perfectionist. And so I'll watch stuff and it's hard to just kind of disconnect and enjoy it. I'll be like, okay, that line was okay. I could have done better on that. That could have tightened up a little bit. It's, I'll start kind of picking it apart and sort of analyzing it a little bit. But with Rick and Morty, it's just such a fun, cool show that I kind of find myself sitting back and laughing and just being able to sort of forget the work part of it and just enjoy.
And I'm sure it's got to help that you're going in and you're really just in the studio recording the lines at that point, and you're not seeing the animation or you're not actually acting out the scene in person. You're not on a set with a bunch of props around you and interacting with a set. It's do you typically with Rick and Morty, are you recording just yourself or are you with other voice actors in there or with any other?
For that particular show, trying to get everybody's schedules together is impossible. So right. I record alone for that one, but there are other shows that I work on where they try to get the whole cast together in one room and we all record as a group. And those sessions are so much fun. I mean, it's insanity. It's magical insanity. And, people are doing impressions the whole time and just going into these crazy improv ad libs, and it's unlike anything else I've ever experienced creatively. That
sounds amazing. Just to be a fly on the wall in a room in a room like that would be something else.
It kind of devolves into battling Christopher Walken impressions. You know what I mean? Everybody's doing, their best Walken.
That's a pretty solid Walken. That's a pretty solid Walken. That's better than I can do.
Thank you. It's a Walkina. It's a Walkina.
Another great show, Brett. Phineas and Ferb.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Phineas and Ferb.
That's amazing. That is an amazing show.
It's a great show. And that was another one where it was I play little Susie on the show for those that do not know, and it's Jeremy's little sister. And she was only supposed to be in one episode, and they liked her so much that they wrote her back in for a number of other episodes. So it was really super fun. Again, she's blonde and she's evil. So I like to think that maybe I'm getting typecast or something.
I don't think so.
Oh, come on. Just Let me have this.
Yeah.
Just let me have this one thing.
She's being very, very humble about all this. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then to be part of Star Wars. That's
oh my
just
gosh.
incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
Letta Thurmond.
When I gotta say, I went through it. I listened to your demo reel the other day because I was like, I know I've probably heard her in a lot of stuff, and it came across the bit for the Jedi Knight, the female Jedi Knight from Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I was like, oh my god, I know that voice.
I tell you what, that is. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm a nerd. I'm a geek.
Oh.
When I was growing up, I loved comics and superheroes and Star Wars. And so when you get to play some of these things in voiceover, I have to kind of go out of the room and like squee a little and like, it's very exciting. It's, somebody's like, what'd you do today? I was a Jedi.
That's
I was
awesome.
a Jedi today. It's not a bad way to make a living.
No.
Oh, definitely not, man.
By the looks of your resume, Kari, I've said her name right all night.
Hey, good job.
I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so proud. Spread the word.
I haven't called you Walgreens yet. So oops, I'm sorry. By the look of your resume, you're making a living at this, and that's like the dream. I mean, because there are those that are the casual voiceover people that do stuff here and there, but I mean, when you've got a resume that long,
Aww.
I mean, literally that's that long, you're working this, and that's
Aww.
amazing, and that's what a blessing.
I mean,
it really is. Like, I don't take it for granted at all. It's every day that I get to wake up and go and just make funny voices or do baby sounds or something in the studio. It's a delight. It's such a joy, and I work with such great people, and it's kind of a dream come true. It sounds very cheesy, but it's true.
Yeah,
we had Tyrell Jackson Williams on a few episodes back, and of course he's working with Hank Azaria on Brockmire on IFC. And I got to tell you that Hank Azaria, as far as voices, is amazing.
Oh, he's amazing.
And I watched. He was on some TV show, and they had him read something in the voice of Brockmire, and I was like rolling on the floor. But it was so funny, I mean and I asked Tyrell. I said, how do you keep a straight face? And I mean, for you as well, you're working with some of the top names in the business. It's got to be just a riot.
It really is, and there have been many takes that we have ruined because somebody laughs, and it only gets bad if we're under a time crunch, and then everybody's like, "Come on, we got to keep it together. We got to get out of here by such and such a time." But yeah, you laugh a lot, and you don't take yourself too seriously. It's hilarious, and some of these guys like John DiMaggio and Maurice LaMarche, and if you Google these guys, they're in everything. Yeah. They're just the top of the top of the line, and it's just hard to keep a straight face. I find that I just kind of bite my jacket a lot to keep from like laughing. I just kind of am back there and I'm just like biting my clothes to try to not ruin the take.
Your backstory is amazing. Again, you were 11 years old. You were on this huge vacation in California. Somehow you ended up in a recording studio and look at yourself now. How did that all happen? That's amazing.
It was crazy. I'm tickled that you found that trivia. Yeah, it was my birthday, and I had turned 11, and I was on a tour with my parents in this recording studio, and they just happened to be casting for I think a 12-year-old girl. And so they're like, "Well, how old is your daughter? Would she like to audition for this thing?" So they just kind of in the middle of the tour gave me some lines, and I auditioned for it, and I booked it, and so they recorded me right there on the spot for like 2 episodes, and that was my first professional gig. So it's crazy. And years later, like literally, 20 years later, I ran into those folks again and worked for them again. So I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I, did this thing. And so it was just the craziest small world story.
That is great.
Yeah, it happens.
And again, are your parents in the business, or how did you end up in a recording studio? That's just...
They're not in the business. They're both now retired school teachers.
Oh, wow.
My mom taught first grade, and my dad taught middle school science. But they were so cool because I was always the kid that was singing and dancing around the house and wanting to be in plays, and they were just very, very supportive. And I grew up in this really tiny town. I mean, less than 4,000 people. And so there weren't a ton of opportunities. And so they would drive me out of town to bigger towns in Kansas so that I could have more opportunities to do theater. And...
Oh, wow.
Are there bigger towns in Kansas?
There are.
When I hear Kansas, I think, but
it's true. I just talked to my parents on the phone this morning, and my mom literally said to me, well, we had just a small tornado. So it didn't touch down on our side of town, but it touched down and it was small, so everything's fine. Literally, she's talking about the size of the tornado.
Oh my gosh.
It's not like, well, we lost some siding, but everything's okay.
Yeah.
And Dad's scared to go back. Yeah. But wow. I mean, and here you are now. They've come out to visit you. Obviously, they've come out to visit.
They do. They come out once in a while. They really don't like it. Bless their hearts. I mean, they try, but the traffic's a lot for them. I did one on-camera commercial a few years back. There was this Swiffer campaign, and there was this mud girl. There was this girl in a mud dress, and that was me.
Wow.
So it's like, and they try to pick me up. Ew. I've got my standards. So she gets sucked up onto the thing. She's like, I like your pad. And and they actually did rig me up to these wires, and they pulled me really, really, really fast up to the ceiling, and there was this big Swiffer pad up by the ceiling. So my mom just got so excited because she could actually see it. With voiceover, it just doesn't quite resonate the same way. But oh my gosh, well, we've called all the neighbors, and you're on this commercial, and they saw you, and you've made it. You've made it in California. So, yeah, even though I'd been working for years in voiceover, she was just like, oh my gosh, finally.
And it's got to be a little different for a parent to watch an animation knowing that it's your voice, but at the same time, depending on how well of a job you do, or how much you change your voice, how you play with it could sound completely different than your normal voice. That was something that Francesca Curran said. Her friends watched Orange is the New Black, and they're like, where were you? We didn't see you. She went, Skinhead of Helen, the one with the tattoos on her face. No, seriously, where are you?
Oh, that's awesome.
And I got to tell you, we're going to stop down just 1 second, but I hear this all the time when you say, because I talk about the show a lot, and say, here we've got such, and then they say, well, which one is she?
Oh, yeah.
Got to paint a picture of the whole thing. And it's like, oh,
that one.
Well, and what gets even trippier is when you do a scene with yourself, and they're like, "So which character?" And I was like, "Well, I was actually both of those." And they're like, "What? But you're talking to yourself." Yeah. So it kind of boggles the mind. Sometimes.
Let's go ahead and stop down for just 1 second. Absolutely. We're going to talk about your acting as well on TVs and whatnot. TVs, multiple TVs. nextbigthинgradio.net. You are tuned to Conversations. Our guest tonight is Kari Wahlgren. And of course, Conversations is brought to you by
Park to Park Travel Services, guys. Right now, Princess Cruises. Right now, they're running their sip and sail promotion. Basically, you get a free all-inclusive beverage package when you book a balcony suite or above. I mean, that's alcohol and sodas, guys. That's not just sodas. A lot of times they do the sodas and more packages. No, they're doing everything, including liquor. Right now you can get a Mexico and California coast cruise, in between September 2018 and May of 2019. Balconies starting from just $1,000. There's all kinds of different trips out here. Alaskan cruises, Caribbean, Asian tours, British Isles. I mean, anywhere you can think of, guys. Cruises are starting at just silly low prices now. And for the first 2 guests, you get the all-inclusive beverage package. For any additional guests in your stateroom, you get free unlimited soda and more package. And if you book a mini suite or a suite now through July 5th, you'll get free specialty dining, guys. So definitely drop us a line, info@parktoparktravel.com. We'll go ahead and get you taken care of and get you your set up on your next cruise.
And again, that website again?
It's parktoparktravel.com. You can also find us on Facebook. Just search Park to Park Travel. Twitter's at Park Travel, and then info@parktoparktravel.com.
Alrighty. Mike Dowler in LA, Brett Strickler in Texas, and
Hi, this is Casey Burt. You're listening to Conversations on nextbigthingradio.net.
And thank you, Casey. Of course, Casey joined us a while back. She was Cindy, or she is Cindy from the middle. So Casey, I just called her Cassie. Kari, Cassie. Oh my God, Casey, thank you. And that deal with the princess sounds really good. So I mean to do that. We are talking to Kari Wahlgren. Kari Wahlgren, of course, a voiceover artist, actress. Is it artist or is it actress or is it boy? Is it both?
You know, I've heard it a lot of different ways. I mean, I usually say I'm a voice actor, but you know, some people say voiceover artist, and it sounds so majestic. So I don't know.
It sounds
I'm okay with either one.
It sounds prestigious.
It's like hello. It's like hello. I'm Erwin. Are you waiting for my words? What are you paying? Oh, I'm an artist. You know,
that's an artiste.
Artiste. Yeah, very good. All right. So again, and your voiceover stuff is amazing. It's just, I mean, amazing. Once in a while, you're in front of the camera. You've done some stuff like that too.
Once in a great while, it happens. They're like, show your face. I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
That's a different dynamic altogether, obviously.
It's totally different. I did a little recurring role as Helen in the Wizarding Office on Wizards of Waverly Place, and that was, you know, super fun. And it's weird. Like, I did a Criminal Minds episode, and people will still say, "Oh my gosh, I recognize you from that." Wow. So it's the power of the face, I guess, the power of the screen time. But it's very different. It's very different with voiceover. You show up and you do your thing, and you're in and out within 4 hours, and with the on-camera stuff, you could be there 2 days.
Oh, wow.
For a couple of short scenes. So
and
totally different world.
I didn't realize the voiceovers went that quick.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're working on an ongoing project, mm-hmm. you may go in for multiple sessions, but each session usually only lasts up to 4 hours. So yeah, it's
on average quick. when you're in one of those sessions. If you're doing multiple episodes, is that just 4 hours for one episode, or is that 4 hours and you're doing multiple?
It depends on the project. I mean, usually they'll do one episode, maybe two, in that time period. It depends on how fast the writers are working, if there's a deadline for when they need to get the project done. But yeah, it's usually, one show, possibly two, within 4 hours.
Oh, wow. That's pretty quick.
Yeah, and it also depends on if you're recording with the whole cast, because it takes a lot longer if you're
Right.
doing it with everybody. So partly because of the battling Christopher Walkens.
Oh, yeah. I need more cowbell. Yeah.
I need more cowbell.
I got a fever. And again, you return Criminal Minds. Everyone works in that show. They hire a lot of people.
They really do. It's like a rite of passage.
It is, definitely. And then Wizards of Waverly Place, I know that. That's Disney. Use that Nickelodeon stuff as well.
Disney. That one was Disney.
Right.
But, yeah, so.
And then the commercials you mentioned, of course, the Mud Girl. That's probably what you remember for. Back in my day, she was muddy.
I know. The Mud Girl.
The industrial stuff, that's always kind of interesting. That's like a lot of training films and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I think one of my first paid actor gigs was doing one of those for AMC movie theaters.
Oh, wow.
And I was the fresh-faced girl behind the counter, getting popcorn and smiling and handing it to people. I'd be way too jaded now to get that role. I look back and I'm like, youth.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Suck it.
Yeah, and again, when I go to movies, I don't get that feeling at all from people behind the counter. I got a feeling about, most of them are just like, here, butter's over there. They're just not that. I remember.
You actually have places that let you put your own butter on your popcorn?
Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah, there's a whole thing. There's the big butter bin. I mean, that's just, yeah.
Those are hard to come by anymore.
It's so exciting because then you can just like decide how fast you get your heart attack,
Right?
Do I want this to be kind of a 1 pump sort of day or a 2 pump?
I knew I liked you.
Clog those arteries.
Yeah. And you
yummy.
get popcorn. There's like 25 unpopped kernels on the bottom. Never fails. I don't know what they end up in, or say they either GMO or something new way. So you end up chewing those. It's a weird. I don't know why. There's absolutely no flavor to them. You just feel compelled to like start chewing on them. It's the weirdest thing.
I used to do that, and then I chipped a tooth.
Oh.
On one, so I stopped. I was like, the kernel's not worth it, Kari. Just let it go.
Yeah, I've done the same thing, and I actually still have half of one of my molars is missing because of that.
Oh,
yeah.
We've got the NBTR dental plan.
Yeah. No, thankfully I've got good dental insurance. I'm just afraid of the dentist.
Yeah.
Who isn't? It's a very traumatic thing. The dentist.
The smell,
yes, the sounds, the sound of it. Oh. And then they always try to make conversation, and they're like, "So, what do you do for a living?"
I need you to stop moving your mouth. Well,
right, exactly.
Really?
Really? That's just. And of course, it's the smoke, and then when they wear a face mask, it's going to be bad.
Yeah,
you do.
Why is this guy wearing a face mask right over my mouth, and you've got my nose uncovered right there, and I'm breathing in the stuff that you're protecting yourself from?
Right.
That can't be healthy.
And then you smell that burning smell. There's like that light dust of your tooth enamel just like sifting into the air. Sorry, is this way too graphic?
It does. And this is teeth talk.
Things that make you go.
That's right. I love you, dentist.
I will go back to the theater thing for just a second, though, because obviously the popcorn kernel, that's a pet peeve, but I digress on that. I live in Santa Clarita. Back in the day, I was like 85, they opened a huge megaplex theater up here, which has since been redesigned and rebuilt and torn down and the whole thing. But they actually had an espresso bar. And I had never seen an espresso bar in a theater, But,
dude.
And this is before the whole Starbucks craze really hit Southern California. So I walk up, I'm kind of snarky, Brett, that. So I walk up and
snarky?
Yeah.
No.
so what do you have? And she's about 16 years old. And then she goes, we've got a mochaccino. So I say, is that like an Al Pacino? And she says, no, it's got chocolate and whipped cream on top. She didn't get it. I didn't get it at all. So I was like, okay. I ended up buying the mochaccino because I felt bad for it.
As they say in the South.
I'm shaking my head, sadly.
Bless her heart.
Bless her, right? Everything Kansas in me is like, oh, bless her heart.
You're in the theater right now, and you never heard of Al Pacino before? I mean, come on. Really? Yeah. You need to get into that screening room once in a while and check out what you're showing in your theater. So.
But people don't expect you to say anything outside of the normal thing. Like when I go and order coffee, and they're like, you know, how do you want your coffee? And I'll say black, like my soul. And and I always do that because the ones that are paying attention, like it's almost like they stop for a second and then they'll laugh. But the ones that are totally checked out, it's like they can't compute that I've said something, you know.
Yeah.
Those are the people that don't need to be working that job anymore. Those are the ones that are so jaded. They've been doing the job so long, they just hate life.
I know,
and it's sad.
But that's why we got to bring them a little joy.
Absolutely,
saying, you know, black like my soul.
Yeah,
it's like I never met a happy hot dog on a stick employee. They are just so upset. I mean, if you had to wear those blue shorts and that weird looking hat all day, I mean,
yes.
I mean, the worst.
That is, you know what? That image is going to stick with me long after this interview is over.
Yeah, and I'm sure
be thinking about that.
Is there a hot dog on a stick in Kansas? Bless their heart.
I think there is. I think there is. I think they're usually paired with an orange Julius.
Yes,
right. That's the one
in the mall food court, no less.
Oh yeah.
Undercover Boss was on last night. They were it was actually on today on one of the channels. It was Cinnabon.
Oh, I love Cinnabon.
This was a whole thing, and these people that were always CEO is a lady, and she's being trained by the supervisor of the week or whatever, and just way too nice, you know. And I got to tell you, I'm not sure which one she works at. I've never been treated like that at Cinnabon. What icing that cost extra.
Man.
Not always an add-on. But anyway, I digress.
Now I gotta ask, Kari, when you go through a drive-through, have you ever messed with the guys on the other side and done just pulled out just a random character?
Ooh. You know what? Drive-throughs? No.
Okay.
But telemarketers? Yes.
Oh, yeah. I've got to hear this story.
Because the second somebody calls and they're like, "Hi, can I speak to Kari Wahlgren?" She's not here right now. Would you like to call back later? Okay. I could answer for. Oh no, thanks. That's what we'll call back later. Yeah. So I've done that a million times, and then whenever I get on an automated system for like paying bills or something, I try to mimic the automated system as closely as possible. So it'll be like, press 1 to enter your address. Okay, I'm entering 5, 6, 7, you know, like I'll like answer back as much as I can, and it still gets it wrong.
That's hilarious.
That's just we've got the cable, you know, we've got our wonderful Spectrum cable up here, which is fantastic. Sorry, Brett, I know you're on dial.
It might as well be. It's AT&T Uverse.
I feel like you just like poked a soft spot there. Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so part of the package was we got that free cable phone. Okay, which is great because you can call anywhere for free and the whole thing.
What is a
cable? I don't know.
You're gonna have to explain this to me. I'm a little ignorant to that terminology. What's a cable phone?
So our phone service is through Spectrum.
Okay.
It's via cable. That's who handles it. So anyway, I don't know who had the number before, but whoever it was owned a Midas brake shop and owed them a lot of money. So we get these calls. I never answer this phone. I never answer it. It's like it just rings and rings and rings. Occasionally, I'll, if I know who it is, I'll answer. But nobody has the number. So I'll call and I'll get this number. And it's always when you answer hello, it's always that pause before they come on.
Yes.
And then it's
and I hate that. Yeah.
Hi, right. Can I speak with so and so?
I'll answer and I'll just go like, hello. I make up some weird dialect voice, and they go, "Hello, Mr. Brother." And they're like, "Excuse me," and I just hang up.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm stealing that. You
just make up some random voice, and it drives them nuts. Then I get the calls from the fake IRS people.
Oh, I got one of those the other day. I was just going to ask you about that. Oh, I messed with this guy for an hour and a half. Oh, it was amazing. I kept calling back and getting the same guy, and eventually they blocked my number. It was great.
Yes! You win!
Winning.
You win.
I was like, dude, because I kept calling back and I told him, I was like, oh, you must have nothing better to do today. And he's all, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he started cussing me out, and I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, go have fun with your goats. And
Wow.
I know. I just pardon me for being a little bit racist, but I can't stand scammers.
And then I get the ones oh, hi, this is credit card services. Your account's okay. I'm like, I have a lot of credit cards, okay? So obviously I know it's just a fake call. And then when you go to press the button, it hangs up on you. So it's like, there's no way to respond to it.
Yeah, those drive me crazy. When you can't push a button and without it like hanging up on you, it's maddening. It's maddening.
So it's just, I don't know. That's the stuff. Having those extra voices, especially yours. I mean, that would be phenomenal. I think I'll just give me your number and he just call you and just,
So
it's fun. It's really fun. I will say that it at least makes it mildly entertaining for me on the phone.
See, the thing is now with caller ID and all this stuff, you can't prank call anymore. You can't make
sure you can. Yes, you can.
You can't really.
It's
you have to get more creative or something.
Even know who you're calling from, which I think is kind of weird. But I mean, it's
if you're just calling somebody's house, if you hit *67, it blocks your number.
Yeah,
but it doesn't work for call centers.
And I'm always hesitant to like mess with these people because it's like I'll get put on some special list and nobody call me all the time, Bob. I mean,
specialist.
My first job in LA when I came here, I was all 20 years old. I sold tools over the phone. I was and that
sold office supplies over the phone.
Did you really? Hi, is the here? And I mean, it's like. It's a whole thing. I mean, I did it. I was good at it, but I was up at 4 a.m. calling people, and there were some you'd call and you just it was just. I mean, people they just asked for it. It was just stupid responses. And then I worked for a place that sold telex supplies, and I found out years later they actually got raided by the postal service.
Wow.
Wow.
That was the whole thing. I'm glad I wasn't there when that happened because I thought they were pretty legit myself. So.
Oh man, mine felt so scammy. I really only worked there for a few weeks, and then I was like, "This is just too soul sucking. I can't do it." Because it's like you're trying to sell pens, ballpoint pens in bulk, to some woman in South Dakota, and I'm like, I can't do this.
Oh yeah, Minnesota, you got some pens for me? You betcha. Well, there was no Office Depot then, so obviously you were providing a service to those folks, and
you know what? You can tell yourself that I wasn't providing.
I still got to say the worst people I've ever interacted with was when I was working phone tech support for a very large streaming media company who I won't name the name. Because I didn't directly work for them, but it was a contractor that had them as a contract. You're talking, we dealt with 1% of their users, and it's the bottom 1% of technology users.
Yeah.
Try explaining to Gertrude, who's 90 years old, that she's got to move her big 65-inch plasma screen TV to unplug it, which is mounted on the wall, mind you.
Everything in me is slowly withering and dying.
I did that for 2.5 years.
God bless you.
And made the move from call center agent to management.
And tell
oh, fancy.
Yeah, I've got some horror story. What's that?
Tell them what hours you were working.
It depended on when, but I started out midnight to 11 a.m. And then I was working 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. for most of my work life there. That was by choice because I liked the night shift because it was awesome. Because I mean, typical night shift, there's no management around. But
that's rough, man.
Thankless job, the most thankless job ever.
You're very responsible. You knew when to get out when the going was good. And,
no, I saw upper management jumping ship, and I went, deuces. I've seen this before. That means there's the almighty pink slip coming potentially, so I'm gone.
I want to take a second. We got trivia around the corner here, Kari, because it's getting late in Los Angeles. But I want to again mention your website real quick if you can.
Oh, sure. My website is kariwahlgren.com. But if you would like to keep in touch with me kind of on a more updated basis, because my website is not always the most current up-to-date news, you can follow me on Twitter at Kari Wahlgren, and it's KariWahlgren. Or I'm on Instagram at Kari_Wahlgren. And then I also have an official Facebook fan page at Kari Wahlgren. So find me on social media. I love keeping in touch with people and hearing from folks. So
do you have that awesome blue check next to all of your profiles?
Some of them. Some of them I do. I'm only real on certain social media sites.
Okay.
Are there fake Kari Wahlgrens out there?
Actually, there are. Sadly,
You're kidding me.
There are. Especially on Facebook. So definitely look for the Kari Wahlgren official Facebook page, because there have been from time to time some fake ones that have popped up, which are probably much more interesting. Like, I'd like to check out my fake sites and see if fake me is more interesting than real me.
Want to say hi, fake me? Wait a second. That's actually an incorrect statement. The answer is,
right. Totally.
Now, before we get into trivia, you do have a new show, a couple of new shows coming up. Obviously, we got season 3 of Rick and Morty's releasing at the end of next month, which we're all super excited for. But you're also got the Nut Job 2 coming out in August, right?
Nut Job 2 is an animated film that is coming out, and I play Jamie the Groundhog in that. Also, and this is cool, I should have brought this up when we were talking about Kansas. This will be the first interview that I've done where I can officially announce that I am playing Dorothy in Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz cartoon on cool. Boomerang. So that is like a huge dream come true. And an absolutely adorable show. So that just started the tail end of this month.
Right we'll get that on the website, by the way, Brett, right away, because that's huge. Wow.
It's such a treat, and working on it and everything has been so nostalgic. When I moved out to LA for years, when people would find out I was from Kansas, they'd say, "Hey, Dorothy, you're not in Kansas anymore." So when I got this part in this show, I was just like, I can finally say I am Dorothy. I am.
Now I feel guilty for saying that early on. So
no, you shouldn't. You said it, and I kind of just had this little hee. Yes.
Do your mom and dad know you're playing Dorothy?
They do now. I was able to tell them just recently, and they were just thrilled. They're like, "Oh my gosh, that's wonderful, sweetie." You're
coming full circle, honey.
I'm coming full circle. It's like my life is finally making sense.
And so. Yes.
Yeah, anyway. So those two are new things, and I guess the last thing I would say is on Disney and Disney XD, we've got the new seasons of The Avengers cartoon, and I'm playing Wasp this season. Yeah. So it's all very exciting stuff happening.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Alrighty. So trivia next. It is time for NBTR trivia, and again, this is brought to you brought to you by Park to Park Travel, as well as TriviaPlaza.com. And tonight's we had a couple of topics possible, and Kari chose her favorite, which is cocktails. This is the
cocktails.
Now you're just making her sound like a drunk, Mike. Come on now.
Bring it on, boys. I'm ready for your lunchy questions.
Wow. The official title is Cocktails and primary beverage quiz.
Okay. I have a feeling I'm gonna totally bomb this, but I'm really
Well,
excited.
I think it'd be
I say the same thing every week, and I still wind up getting at least 80%. I think there was only 2 times we didn't. One was beer trivia, and that's because Mike was punishing me. He was supposed to do Chicago trivia, but that show went completely off the rails.
Ooh,
those guests are off the rails.
Oh man,
There
it
you
was
go.
great.
we're gonna do it, kid. We're gonna get the cocktail.
All
It's,
right.
do you know the primary distilled beverages that are used to make a cocktail? So basically, the way it works is I'll answer the question, ask the question, give you 4 possible answers. Brett can choose an answer, you choose an answer, or you can decide to piggyback off each other or blaze your own trail.
Okay.
And again, the points mean absolutely nothing. It's just for fun. Nobody's going to judge or criticize you. And again, nobody from Kansas was harmed in the making of this trip.
Wait, but I don't get points for this. Where's my motivation? What am I?
You get bragging rights.
You get brag.
I'm in. That's a very strong motivator for me. Bring it.
Yeah. We rearrange a couple things here. Loading takes or reload this page. Okay, we'll do that. And
Gotta love that technology. One of my favorite sayings while working at said large streaming media site was, "Technology's great when it works."
it worked most of the time.
Yes.
But I wouldn't have a job if it worked all the time. So let's get this fixed.
We could have gone with cheese and countries as well. So this
Oh
is
god.
probably
Yeah, no. I'm glad we went with cocktails instead of cheese and countries.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that
Here we go. We ready. If you answer correctly, you're going to hear this. And if you bomb, wait for it. You're going to hear.
Oh,
That's
okay.
such an ugly noise, man.
This is a 10-question quiz. And again, the points mean absolutely nothing. Question number 1. Which distilled beverage is usually a main ingredient for this cocktail? The Hurricane. Is it
The main-
A, rum? Yeah, the main ingredient. Is it A, rum, B, vodka, C, whiskey, or D, gin?
Rum, I believe.
I think so too. I'm gonna say rum.
There you go.
Because it's right there with the Mai Tais and the zombies, and that's my drinks, man.
Yes, Queen.
All right, here we go. Question number 2. Which distilled beverage is used to make is the main ingredient for this cocktail? Kir Royale. That's spelled K-I-R and then Royale, R-O-Y-A-L. Kir Royale. Which I haven't been drinking, by the way, just so you know. Kir Royale. Is it
Okay.
whiskey, champagne, brandy, or vodka?
It's
either brandy or vodka.
It's Kerr's brandy, if I remember right.
I'm gonna
But
go
the
with brandy.
Royale is tripping me up.
But
No.
No.
oh,
Champagne.
That was my second guess.
Yeah, well, doesn't count now. Okay. By the way, vodka. I gotta tell you, vodka. When you buy vodka, it's got to be in the freezer. That's
I can't do vodka anymore. Too many. I lived in Vegas for too long, and yeah.
oh,
shaken, not stirred.
Here
we go.
Between vodka and Jaeger, man.
Well, Jaeger.
Jaeger, no.
Stuff. Jeez. Okay. Here we go. Question 3. For a Tom Collins, the main ingredients is vodka, gin, champagne, or rum.
Gin.
Because
if it was vodka, it'd be a vodka Collins.
That's right. You guys got it. Good job. Question 4.
Yay!
You guys are really on fire. That's great. Here we go. Main ingredient for a Clover Club. I've never heard of this before. A Clover Club.
Clover Club.
I think this is only in Kansas, drinking establishments possibly. But okay, the Clover Club is either A, champagne, B, vodka, C, gin, or D, tequila. I'm pretty sure tequila is not an option. I'm just thinking.
Okay, what were the first two? What was it again?
Champagne, vodka,
Okay.
gin, or tequila.
Um,
A Clover Club.
Gin or tequila?
It sounds like a foofy drink to me.
It does. I would have said for sure Scotch or something like more Irishy.
I'm gonna go with a gin drink.
I want to say, I'll go with gin, but my heart says vodka. Gin.
Good job. Okay, this one's way too easy.
Wait. Was that?
Gin, yeah, correct.
Oh, it was gin.
Nice.
Okay.
You go, yeah. Okay. Here we go. Okay, question 5. Halfway through, guys are doing great. A margarita. Tequila.
Really?
Tequila, vodka, whiskey, or rum?
Tequila.
Tequila.
Preferably salsa.
Yeah.
Commemorativo or salsa hornitos.
Salsa. Oh man, no! Give me some nice Patron Silver. Been in the freezer for a few days, nice and ice cold. Oh.
Yes.
I used to be a bartender.
Nice. Oh, I am. This is amazing. So basically, you're a ringer in this whole quiz.
Kinda.
Amazing.
Except I've gotten 2 wrong so far. So there's that.
So you weren't necessarily a good bartender, but you were a bartender.
Well, I went to bartending school when I got laid off in 2010 because I was like, I live in Vegas. I can find a job bartending. And then I remembered there's a union.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, yeah, that sucks. But I did get to actually bartend in, where were we at? Grand Teton National Park.
Nice.
That was fun. That was fun.
A lot of drinking there, you know.
You have no idea.
Go out and play with the bears afterwards.
No, more the bison.
Bison, yeah. Love bison. Question 6, here we go. For an old-fashioned, is it vodka, whiskey, brandy cognac, or gin?
Brandy.
Ooh. Oh, is it brandy or is it whiskey?
Well, an old-fashioned.
Gin.
Yeah. My friend drinks them. You know what? I think it is brandy. Yep,
Brett?
brandy.
Yeah, it's brandy.
No, it's whiskey.
It was whiskey.
Oh,
dang
But there
it.
is a brandy old-fashioned, though. You can get a brandy old-fashioned. So there's
Okay, I think my friend actually does order the brandy ones. She orders some specific brandy old-fashioned.
Yeah. I like them.
It's a whiskey. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You can go.
And
This is
whiskey and scotch, it's got to be on the rocks. I can't drink it just straight like that.
This is always going to stick in my head because I got 10 seconds off of my bar time, my mix time for it. The instructor wanted us to. He liked the old fashions, but he wanted it with Glenlivet, and I want to say it was Disaronno.
Oh, that's like a liqueur.
Yeah, and we had to do like 20 drinks in under 7 minutes.
That's insane.
And
wow.
I did it in 4.5.
And folks, you're tuned to Bartender 101.
Well, if you think about it, 7 minutes is a long time. You know, and we're good off track here. Anyways, Mike, go.
Tom Cruise could do it. Tom Cruise did it in Cocktail. He had no problem at all. Okay. Question number 7, and we're winding down here, guys. For a Bloody Mary, would it be vodka, rum, champagne, or brandy?
Vodka.
Vodka.
Yes, indeed. And I love those that they don't even drink them because of the fact they don't like tomato juice.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I love a good Bloody Mary, especially on cruise ships, right? You mentioned, the drinks on cruise ships, they make them really, really good. You always order the, nice and spicy.
Good to know.
Yeah. Here's what I never tried as well. A rusty nail. Is it brandy, gin, rum, or whiskey?
It's brandy, I believe, because a rusty nail is orange juice and brandy.
What do you think?
It's kind of got a reddish tinge to it. That's why it's called a rusty nail.
I'm going to go gin.
All righty. Let's see here. Actually, you're both wrong. It's whiskey.
It's whiskey.
Oh, man.
No, right? What kind of drinkers are you guys? Gee whiz.
I stick to my
Moderate?
right? Non-existent.
Which is clearly my love of moderation is not serving me well in this quiz.
Again, we could have picked cartoon characters, cheeses, and country, but we went with cocktails. So.
No, this is far more fascinating.
Oh, absolutely.
I think so. And now you'll know. You know when you,
No, I won't.
you know when you go to John's Market, everyone goes to John's and lives in your area. You know what? Oh no, you'll say, oh no, we need that. We need definitely whiskey for that, or was it? So you'll find yourself go back in the car listening to the podcast again. So find out what the answer.
Yeah.
Probably be faster to Google it.
I'm so down with this.
Yeah. Here we go. We got two more here. Number 9. Not a big fan, but daiquiris. Daiquiris. So a daiquiri, is it rum, whiskey, brandy, or gin?
Rum.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's rum too, Brett.
Rum.
And it's rum. There you go.
Woo!
And here we are.
Can you tell what
10.
kind of liquors we like?
You guys like the hard stuff. I mean, this is gee whiz.
I love that margarita wasn't even like halfway out of your mouth, and I'm like, tequila!
Right?
Definitely one of my 3 favorite kinds.
And what's with the tequila in the beer bottle? You ever seen it? You're like,
No.
if you're Mexican restaurant, they put that beer bottle in there upside down. But they're like, and I mean, what is with that?
That trend started in Vegas. Believe it or yeah, go figure, right? A drinking trend that started in Vegas.
I don't believe that. That's crazy talk.
I know,
have to be
man.
on the rock, by the way. I can't do the blended one because it's just too much brain freeze.
I love
I want
blended.
rocks, and if you go to Mexico, it's on the rocks there. So they don't blend them there. It's on the rocks.
Oh, in Mexico, yeah, I wouldn't want it any other way.
It's all about the salt. That's all. You know,
I don't know.
we should all go out now. I'm feeling like you know.
Tasty.
I mean, Kari, you're like 20 minutes away from me. Brett would be a 3-hour flight for you, but you know. Anyway, question 10.
Okay, question 10. Yes.
Winding down here. A Manhattan. No, never tried one before. A Manhattan. Is that whiskey, rum, gin, or brandy?
It's not.
I want to say whiskey.
I want
Thank
to say whiskey.
Yeah, I wanna go that way too.
It just sounds Manhattan to me.
Yeah,
Whiskey.
I'm gonna go with Kari on that one.
You got it.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, you guys! I'm so excited. I didn't think I'd get any of these right.
You guys got a C.
Hey, I'll take a C. It's still passing. It's still passing.
So your score, average score is 6.22 out of 7,700 plays.
And what did we get?
You got a 6 point. You got a 7
Nice.
average. So you're above average.
All right, above average. What I strive for.
On the
Every day, baby, every day.
alcohol.
Above average.
So this has been a lot of fun, Kari. And I mean, we've learned so much about you, and you've learned about yourself as well, which is amazing. Wouldn't it be funny if your mom and dad were listening right now? They'd be like, "Oh no, this is not good."
I know. They'd be like, "Honey, I thought we raised you better than that." I'm sorry, Mom, but listen, I was only above average.
Did they really
the
talk?
liquor part?
Does your mom really talk like that?
What was that?
Does your mom really talk like that?
She does. In fact, it's a little sad to me that you can't meet her to know how good my impression is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like I can fake people out on the phone.
Is she like David Letterman's mom? Remember her? Remember she's.
Yeah, I kind of remember her. She's that same kind of like sweetness and stuff like that.
I mean, she passed away unfortunately, but she was very, very much always in the kitchen doing stuff, and
Aww.
You go home for the holidays, I take it.
I do, or we meet at a sibling's house or something, so we kind of bop all around and.
Yeah, that's really cool.
for the holidays.
Kari,
Yeah, this has been so fun, you guys. I
Yeah,
really enjoyed this.
Absolutely.
and again, it's getting late here, and I'm glad I'm doing so well because I went to go see Queen
late
on Monday.
late there, man. It's 11:30 here, and I have to go see Rammstein tomorrow.
I saw that. Well, I saw Queen on Monday at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh man, I'm so jealous.
I got my hearing back, so it's like
Just in time.
They were amazing. Anyway,
They were.
oh, Adam Lambert's just phenomenal. It was really good. Yeah, it was a great show. But Kari Wahlgren, check her out online. She's on Twitter as well as a website as well, KariWahlgren.net. On here, you can check her out on there. And again, the podcast will be up soon on this, so stay tuned for that. Again, Brett, thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries, man. Glad we got this one done.
I'm glad you didn't wither away in the heat there.
Oh man.
As soon as we find out about the next show, we will go ahead and let you guys know because it's going to be huge. So hopefully it'll all work out, and we will let you know as soon as we know. Brett, that's going to do it here in LA.
Yeah, have a great night, guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. This is nextbigthingradio.net. So long.
Next Big Thing Radio.
You have been listening to Conversations on nextbigthingradio.net. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/nextbigthingradio and on Twitter at NBT Radio.